is Father Bill Gabriel, and I am from Dover, New Hampshire, so up in New England. And I first encountered the Augustinians with an Augustinian pastor in my parish who was incredibly welcoming and hospitable, and someone who got to know your name and knew who you were and wanted to get to know who you were if he didn't know you already. So it left an impression on me when I was an 8-year-old, enough to say, yeah, this is a guy who inspires people, and it makes me want to be like him one day, as we all do when we're little, have those little role models. So that was my first encounter with the Augustinians, and then it kind of led me to other places. So after encountering the Augustinians as a young guy in the parish community in New Hampshire, I was able to connect with other Augustinians who would come through the parish, as well as went to Villanova University, studied theology undergrad, and didn't actually feel like I was being called still to become a friar. I thought, all right, that was nice, but I'm very open to a lot of different experiences and whatever God might be inviting me to do. Then ended up working and teaching and coaching at the high school level and in the Villanova area. And there was this one moment where I ended up driving home to the studio apartment, and it's just very small, and it was a long day. We had finished basketball practice, and I was driving home. I loved what I was doing, but as I was driving, this really beautiful moment came that invited me to think, to whom and to what am I coming home to? And I knew that the home that was there, that little part, was not it. It was not satisfying the restlessness in my heart. And that prompted me then to say, wait a second, there's something here that I need to pay attention to, and it led me back to the friars and that 8-year-old boy who was like, yeah, I want to do this. Basically, when I look at discernment, here I was as a little kid, career day, 3rd grade, I was like, I'm going to be an Augustinian priest, right? And I'm sure my parents were like, what? Who is this son of ours? And it was always interesting, being involved in the parish community and so forth. And so much so that the Augustinian pastor had notified the vocation director at the time, who was Father Kevin DePrinzio, and was like, hey, I had a potential vocation you should really talk to. And I was in 8th grade. So I think they were like, he's a little young for that process yet. So people have been saying I've been discerning for decades. I would say I seriously came to discern around that year of when I was out in the working world and teaching and coaching and so forth. And so much so that then I requested an associate to walk with me, who was Father Joe Farrell, and who I had in classes at Villanova, and had an opportunity to really dive deeper into the discernment process and what that looks like, and ask questions that were on my heart and mind. And then it allowed me to get enough information to ultimately, as more and more of these opportunities and signs were saying, this is a direction that I'm calling you to say, yeah, I'm gonna jump in. And by some grace of God, they accepted me, So we'll find out if that was a good thing or not. So the advice that I would give to someone who's in the beginning process of discerning would be to remain open in a couple ways. Certainly through prayer and then paying attention to the interior life, the inner teacher, who's inviting them to pay attention to those moments where they feel like they're coming alive, where they're noticing this is where I'm loving best in the world. And I can begin to see myself. I'm not feeling that I'm being called or drawn to this or that. As well as noticing the affirmation of trusted others. So in sharing your vocation, whether with friars and getting to know them as best as possible, but also with people who know and love you and you trust, to be able to ask them, what do they think about this? Or pay attention even to people who notice something in you that might really be pointing in a way that you're not paying attention to. This is what you're being called to do. And by doing that, then I think you're ultimately open to noticing all the many ways, not massive ways, right? I mean, it could be a massive, knock you off your horse type of experience, but for me, it was a lot of the gentle whispers of others and my own interior life that was saying, hey, I think this is where you're going to love best in the world, and I think you should try it.